Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. And welcome to the match preview segment for Everton versus Aston Villa. We're playing Villa on a Saturday night at 8 o'clock. And we go into it off the back of a bit of a fluky win, shall we say. But, you know, it gets the optimism going a little bit. We're looking forward to this a lot more than we would have been doing a week ago. So I'm joined by Terry McAllister and Paul McAllister. We're going to get right into it. I'll start with you on this one, Paul. How are you feeling going into this? It's got to be a little bit of a morale boost, even if we didn't necessarily play brilliantly. It's got to be feeling a bit better now.
No, spot on what you've just said. The fact that we're coming off the back of a victory makes me a lot more confident that we're actually going to turn up and play the way that we know we're capable of, rather than just putting in one of these sort of bland performances that we've got. Yeah, that's a good word, that we've got used to when we play at Goodison in the last few months. We tear up and we seem to always make the opposition look better than what they are. But I think a lot of that's had to do with the fact that obviously we've had injuries, and going into a lot of those games, they sort of had this must-win type feel about them, like especially like Burnley and who did we play last? Crystal Palace at home. Going into those matches, the supporters on social media beforehand were like, we've got to win this game if we're going to keep pace. If we don't win, then the season's out the window. And I was probably one of those people. But the fact that we've got a victory, the fact that we've won against Arsenal and we've broken one of those awful records, I think everyone's a bit more buoyed, and the injuries are starting to ease. So, and Villa are. But the below us, they're not. I wouldn't say that it's a direct rival, because I don't think they'll catch us at this point, especially if we go ahead and beat them at least once out of these two games we've got to play them. But I think they're a side that we're much stronger than. We really are. And I think supporters are not as nervous going into this now. We don't think that we're going to go into this game worried that things are going to get on top of us and that we're just going to make Villa's danger men look like whale beaters. It's more just a case of, look, if we turn up and do what we know we're capable of, then we'll get the 3 points here. Just turn up and all be yourselves and all give 6 or 7 out of 10, and it should be enough. And I think that's why everyone's looking forward to this game rather than apprehensive and nervous about it.
Yeah, we just can't always guarantee the 6 or 7s out of 10. Sometimes that's the only downside. But it's worth remembering that one of Villa's danger men, the certain Ross Barkley, we all love him on the show, don't we?
Barkley, is he fit to play? Is he? Yeah, he's been injured a lot.
He is, yeah. He's fit again, yeah. So he will probably play.
Well, if he wasn't motivated enough already to try and get one over on us, then he should be motivated now, especially after Dean Smith's come out and said that he's not looking at signing him on a permanent. So Barkley is playing for his future, isn't he? He's going to have to convince somebody to buy him, isn't he? He's going to have to convince somebody to come in and take him and make him a starting man in their team, because it's not worked at Villa. He's not going to go back and even get on the bench for Chelsea, you'd think, under Tuchel. I can't think of any manager who would put up with Barkley less than Tuchel, being the taskmaster he is. So Barkley's going to have to put in a beaten up a performance here and in the remaining games of the season to pique someone's interest, because his career is just completely at the skids, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's insane when you think about like the fact that he has a lot of potential at one stage, but it just doesn't seem to have gone like right for him. And like, I think he made a mistake leaving Everton. There's no doubt about that.
I think he made a mistake in the manner that he left Everton, more so. I mean, Everton were a state at the time. Things had gone terrible under Martinez. They completely unravelled. We were a mess. We didn't know what we wanted to be under Koeman. There was no guarantees of anything, was there? And I don't blame Barkley for thinking in his head, look, if I stay here all my life, then I'm just going to be one of those players who never wins anything, never really achieves anything of note. I'm just going to be if I'm a one club man, what's the point of being a one club man if you're at that one club and that club doesn't go anywhere, really? You're not really going to get the respect of the football community, the wider football community. So I didn't blame him for wanting to go when he did, but it was more the manner of how he conducted himself, or the people he listened to, like his agent, telling him to swerve off going in the summer and basically robbing Everton of £20 million. So Barkley, I don't hate the fella. It's more just like I look down my nose at him now. It's like, you did what you did, and it's blew up in your face, and the whole world's laughing at you now, and you deserve to be laughed at. So you have to lie in the bed that you've made. So
he's definitely scoring this weekend, then, isn't he?
Most probably, yeah, in front of the Gladys Street end as well. I know that we know one there, but it'll still be a real kick in the bollocks if he scores in front of the Gladys, and he's going to be stupid enough to do some mad celebration. But this season with Villa, it's just been a perfect microcosm, if that's the word, of Barkley's entire career. It started off really well, had everyone talking, and then it slowly dropped off. Then he got injured. Then he came back from his injury, and then again his levels didn't really pick up again. They just carried on going downwards, and it's reached the point now where everyone, his own manager included, has just completely lost patience with him and has come out and said it publicly. He's said, hasn't he, that Villa are not going to sign him, and I can't imagine that's any gamesmanship, because you'd think if Villa were interested in him, he would just avoid the deal done early. Get the deal done early, or at least say when he's asked, are you interested in signing Barkley? You just say, oh, well, we're not thinking about that right now. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We're not thinking about that right now. We don't want to disrespect Ross's parent club. We're just focusing on the games for the rest of the season. No, Dean Smith just came out outright and said it, didn't he? He said, no, we're not looking to sign him. So God knows how that's going to go down in the Barkley household, but he's got no one to blame but himself, Ross, because it's always been the same problem with him. He's got the talent, he just hasn't got the brain.
Terry, looking ahead to the Villa game though, with obviously Jack Grealish is missing, isn't he? So that seems to have been that seems to be a big indicator of how much we should fear Villa, is whether or not he plays. If he is still out for this game, that's a major boost for us, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, because he's easily their best player, and he's one of the best players in the league. But they've still got loads of good players who you should be worried about. Like Ollie Watkins, John McGinn's quality, Traore and El Ghazi. Did you say it? They're both
good players.
They're good players. I like Matty Cash as well. I think they've got loads of good players sprinkled throughout the team. They're just what they remind me of without Grealish. They're a bit like us without James. Like they're an okay side, but they're just not half as good because they haven't got the creative force. So I think Villa are a really good team, and I think if Grealish hadn't got injured, they'd be in this mix for the European places still. But it just came at a terrible time for them, and they still haven't got him back. So I'm not taking Villa lightly, personally. I think they're a really good team.
Yeah, I certainly think we'll have a tough game at the weekend. We're going to have to fight for this one. And again, that puts the onus back on our team. What do we need to do in terms of, we spoke about the Arsenal game, we got the result. Do we need to perform better, or will it be a case of more of the same?
We need to do what we did in the last two home games, but score the chances and don't make mistakes at the back. We dominated against Palace and we dominated against Spurs, but against Palace we missed about 10 chances, and against Spurs we practically backheeled 2 own goals into our nets by giving them to Harry Kane under no pressure. So if you can turn out another home performance like that, like those two games should have been 2 home wins, but we conspired against ourselves. If we can do that again, we've got it in us to win this game, but don't be making silly mistakes and take your chances when they come. I know it sounds dead simple, but if you take the flashpoints out of those last 2 home games, they were miles better than we played against Burnley and against Fulham and what have you. There's been a massive uptick in performance at home, but we just didn't get the wins. We got draws in the last 2 games due to our own mistakes, basically individual errors costing us. If we can cut that out, we'll win these games.
Yeah, we've got to. I think, like I say, we've got to be confident. I mean, as good as Villa are, there's no one of the deadliness of Harry Kane in their team. Not on that level, at least.
No, well, no one in the league practically has got someone as deadly as Harry Kane. But the mistakes that the 2 centre-backs made in that game, I think I could have netted in those scenarios, never mind Harry Kane. I could have scored if if Keane and Holgate were going to do that. But they're a really good team, Villa. I'm not sleeping on them. I think these are going to give us a proper game.
Oh, definitely. No, they've got some great players. There's many a player that I've taken our team, put it that way.
Yeah,
would you? Would you? I mean, I see Grealish, who I really like. I think Watkins would be a good player as a backup for Calvert-Lewin. And I'm not saying for a minute that we could ever get these players, but man for man, I think Everton with our full strength 11. I don't think there's many players from Villa's full strength 11 that would walk into our team. Maybe
I've John McGinn in a heartbeat.
I think Matty Cash probably would as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the goalkeeper does. Martinez.
Maybe.
I think he's very overrated personally. I mean, I don't think he's a poor goalkeeper, but I think that spell he had at Arsenal last season and the fact that Bernd Leno hasn't been very good this year for them now that he's come back for Arsenal and basically got rid of Martinez because they weren't willing to drop Leno for him. I think it's made everyone think that he's a bit better than what he is. I mean, I don't believe he's a top 6 level goalkeeper, Martinez, personally. And I know Pickford probably isn't either in most people's opinion, but if you'd offered me a chance between Pickford and Martinez, I wouldn't say I'd definitely pick Martinez, you know. I know I've slagged Pickford off loads in the past, and he's very up and down as a keeper, but I'm just not sold on this idea that Martinez is this really great good keeper who Villa did brilliantly to get, and if he keeps playing well, that's some other bigger club's going to come and take them off him. I
mean, I think Paul's just got some sort of PTSD off anyone called Martinez at this stage.
No, is he the Argentine #1 now?
Not a clue.
I know he's Argentinian
since the last World Cup.
I think he's been capped. So I wasn't trying to put the fella down. I think he's a good goalkeeper, but good's about it. I don't think he's a great keeper. And if put it this way, I don't think Carlo Ancelotti, or let's say if Martinez was available in the summer for whatever reason, if he was at Arsenal or if Villa suddenly just needed to sell some players to get money, I wouldn't be going in for Martinez. I think we should be looking around for better. I don't agree that he's just an absolute upgrade on what we've already got. But that's just my opinion. Maybe I'm in the minority.
I think he's all right. He's not I don't think he's like this world beater, but he is a good keeper. But in terms of the players that I bring in from Villa, if I could to upgrade this team, I'd have John McGinn, Cash, Bertrand Traore, Grealish, maybe even Watkins, like you say. I think there's many a good player in that team.
There's 5.
You've got to keep an eye on.
There's 5, and you only get 11 in your team, so.
No, I didn't mean in the sense that they haven't got anyone in their team who I wouldn't have, but I just don't. There's not 5 players in their team who I'd drop from our best 11 to accommodate them. I mean, I don't think Watkins gets in over Calvert-Lewin, personally.
No,
I would have Watkins if we could get him.
Cash gets in at right. Cash gets in at right back. McGinn gets in the midfield. Traore probably gets in on the right.
Do you think? I wouldn't put Traore on the right, personally.
Well, Grealish as well. So
I'm over to Obi.
In any case, they're a good team. It's whether you agree or disagree on one or two. There's a few players who can definitely get in over us. They're a very good team. I think they're very similar to us in a lot of ways. They've just, much like we did, suffered creatively without Grealish, and we did without James Rodriguez.
I mean, I haven't watched tons of them this season, especially not post-Christmas. What that Wesley they've got, that striker who I think scored his first ever goal for them against us last season at Villa Park, and I think he got a bad injury. Did he? Is he?
Yeah,
back? Is he not back?
Broke his ankle or something.
Yeah, I remember
to Gomez.
I remember hearing that he had like a really bad one, but it was a good few months ago now. And as I've just said, I haven't really kept up with them, so I didn't know what he was up to in terms of his comeback. Like, is he back around the squad? Is he still out for the season or what? Because he's one of those players, big strong unit. He just like he did on his when he scored his first goal against us. He's just one of those players where he'd have 20 games of looking absolutely terrible. Then he'd play against us and he'd bag 1 or 2, and he'd look like the £30 million player that they bought.
Yeah, we've seen many a occasion where a player's done that. I mean, I'm astonished that before he left West Ham that the Haller didn't score against us.
He's gone to Ajax him now, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, yeah. But he was one of them, I thought. I know he ended up getting beat anyway in that New Year's game, but before he left to go to Ajax, I was put me out on him buying a bag of goal.
I know we're going a bit off topic, but I remember when West Ham bought him and just heads were absolutely falling off on social media and on the Everton forums because they signed him for 45 million, and Everton were like, well, if West Ham can spend 45 million on this striker, then surely Everton could have as well. Why are we getting beat to this kind of hot prospect? Because he'd had a really good season with Frankfurt, hadn't he? I think he scored.
Yeah, it was like 20 odd goals in the season.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was. I think it was 20 overall because he played in the Europa League as well. But he was well into double figures for league goals and for European goals, and he was getting linked with a lot of big clubs. And people were a bit surprised that he rocked up at West Ham, but he has like a buyout clause in his deal in the event that he turned out to be a world beater, that he could just fob West Ham off and go to a Champions League club. But technically that did happen because he's gone to Ajax, and Ajax playing the Champions League, so his agent's done well there, but it's a massive step down in levels in that Haller. He wasn't the player that a lot of people were convinced themselves he were. But back to Aston Villa, I think as long as we win this game, then I think that's a massive step towards Europe. But I'd say to you now, we've got to play Villa twice, haven't we? This game at Goodison and then the rescheduled one at Villa. If I offered you 3 points now, we win one game, we lose one game, would you take that? Now, if it was offered to you 3 points, we play Villa twice, and I can guarantee you we'll beat them at least once, but we'll lose the other game. Would you accept that, or would you not accept it?
Yeah, I would. I think if you win all 3 home games, then you're practically in Europe. Well,
I do. 9 points will get us Europe, I think. If we can beat Sheffield, we can beat Wolves, and we can beat Villa, then I think that'll get us over the line.
I think 12. I agree with Carlo. He said 5.
I think beat West Ham, and that might be the game changer.
Yeah.
That's away though. Our games are Villa twice, Wolves are home. This is not in order, by the way, but Villa twice, Wolves are home, Sheffield are home, City away, and West Ham away. So that's 6 games. I think 9 points out of 6 games will get us in some form of Europe, whether it's the Europa League or the Conference League. I think at this point, I'd even accept the Conference League. But we're on 52 points. If we can get to 60 plus, I think that will get us Europe. And if you'd offered us now, you can beat Villa at home, but you're going to lose the return game in a few weeks. I'd snap your hand off of that.
Yeah, I think if we got those results plus a win over West Ham, that's the big one for me, because you beat West Ham, but automatically above West Ham in the table. That's 1 place higher. That's a big 6-pointer.
If we beat West Ham, then we could probably rock up in 5th or 6th, couldn't we? I mean, top 4's gone now. I know technically it's not. Mathematically, we could get there, but I don't think anyone is seriously thinking that's going to happen now. But 7th is right there for the taking, because Spurs are just basically waiting for the season to end. They've got some novice who's even younger than Terry as their standing manager. I think he's like 28, 29, isn't he? Ryan Mason. So, and obviously their best players wants to leave. And a lot of other players they've got there just look past there or not bothered. So Tottenham are not going to do anything between now and the end of the season. And if we end up finishing below them, I'll be so annoyed.
So embarrassing that.
Yeah, embarrassing. So 7th is there for the taking. 6th and 5th are doable, I think, especially if we beat West Ham. But if you'd offered me 7th place now, 9 points will get us to 61 points, and 7th, I think I'd have that. But should we be aiming a bit higher, maybe? Or
I think we should be aiming to get results in every game. I feel like, well, City aside, I feel like we should be getting, the games we don't win, we should be drawing, put it that way.
What about you, Terry? Would you take 7th place now, or do you think 5th and 6th is still very doable?
I'd take 7th.
Got to go for 4th. I know you're not likely to get it, but we've got 6 games left, which is 1 more than everyone else. It's right there, and we're not, other than Man City, we're not playing anyone who blows me away. You can beat West Ham, we can beat Villa, we can beat Wolves. I know I'm not saying it's likely to happen, but no, I'm not going to say I'll take 7th off you now, because we're not cut adrift. It's going to go to the last day. If you'd asked me this before the City game and we're in 8th, and you say, would you take 7th, with a draw, I'd probably take it, but not right now. There's well too much to play for, and while the performances haven't been great of late, at any point you can put a little run together, you can turn it on, and I'm not going to sit here and say, if you like a couple of points off 4th, I'll take 7th. No chance.
What are Chelsea on in? Because they're still fourth, aren't they? How many
They're on
points are they on at the moment?
58, I think, and we're on 52.
Have we got a game in hand?
Yes, I think so. Oh, I think Chelsea might have a game in hand because they're tied, didn't they?
Well, yeah, they've got the second leg of the semi-final next week as well, haven't they? And they get to the Champions League final, then all eyes are going to be on that, aren't they?
Yeah, we're definitely going to finish fourth, and then they'll win the Champions League.
Yeah, you can see it, can't you? Because if that scenario hasn't happened in this league, at least since we finished fourth and then Liverpool won the cup, but if that were to happen,
it has happened since. To be fair, Chelsea finished sixth and won it, and Spurs got knocked out of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that now. That was 2012ish, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2012.
Chelsea won it, and Tottenham had to drop down. Yeah, so basically, if Chelsea win the European Cup, then fourth place will have to go in the Europa League. And as you said, could there be anything more Everton than that?
Yeah.
I've got to admit, though, I would find it quite funny if that happened to West Ham. If it was West Ham who finished fourth and they ended up having to drop out because Chelsea won the Champions League. Don't
be a Tory. You don't want that to happen to West Ham. I'd
rather West Ham than frigging Chelsea any day.
I'd love that happen to Liverpool.
No, I say that because I think imagine what Champions League football would do to West Ham with that stadium they've got. You know what I mean? It would probably go a long way to undoing all the damage that they've done to themselves since they moved in there. I think a club like them, whether we like it or not, they're now a direct rival this season. We can't be having them getting the Champions League.
No, I'm with you on that.
We'll see how long that lasts, though. They've got a good manager there, but the rest of their operation is still Mickey Mouse. Remember, he's just making good use of it. He's making a good go of it. Like if they're in Europe 2 or 3 years, then I'll take that. But even if they're in the Champions League,
to be fair, David Moyes had us in Europe on a regular basis, and at that time our operations was Mickey Mouse. So
not in the same way, though. Bill Kenwright allowed David Moyes to practically run the club, which the West Ham owners will not do. They like to stick their oar in too much. It's like they're not, and plus that's not the Champions League. You're telling me now that the owners of West Ham, if they got in the Champions League, wouldn't be taking phone calls off random agents to take, star name players and who Moyes doesn't even want to. Like Sam Allardyce even said that the owners of West Ham used to give them like presents in pre-season, like to go sign this player for you. Like unless they were to change ownership, they're not set up to be a Champions League club at the minute. They've got a really good manager, as we well know. But I would like to see them in Champions League 2 or 3 years before I started to really worry about them, because they are the masters of their own downfall usually.
And that's coming from an Everton fan.
I hope you're right. Terry. I really do. But part of me thinks that those owners might have learned their lesson, because they did go back to Moyes, didn't they, after billing them off for Pellegrini. Part of me thinks maybe they've got wise just in time. And obviously they've had a big slice of luck, but
wouldn't begrudge West Ham a thing. Their fans are long-suffering fans. They're not the entitled fans of these Sly Six clubs, but I'm not convinced. If it was anyone apart from us, I'd rather it be West Ham, but I don't think it'll be a long-term stretch of being up there. You know what I mean? I think we're coming at it from a better position. Even if they beat us in this instance, they have got a lot to come back from. They've got a squad that's even more unbalanced than ours. They've got loads of crap who are on big contracts who they're struggling to get rid of and everything. Moyes is making the best of it. Don't get me wrong, very good. The same way Ancelotti's making the best of it here. But I would like to see I'd be very surprised if they could maintain that success, even if they did finish in the Champions League.
I think it'd be interesting because I think if we beat West Ham in a couple of weeks, I think we'll finish above them. If we don't beat them, we won't. That's as simple as that.
Yeah, it will come down. Yeah, I agree with that. West Ham are what, 3 points above us? 4?
3 points. So
I could see West Ham losing between now and the end of the season in a game other than us. So if we beat them, then for me that's at least 2 games they'll lose in this run-in. And I think if they're going to get top 4, they can't lose another game, really. If you'd have to put your money on it right now, lads, what do you say the top 7 is in order?
think Liverpool are going to win the league.
Well, no, we know what the top. I think we know what the top three is. It's going to be United. It's City and United are the top two, and then Leicester. I think they're definitely going to finish in the top four. I think that game against Palace the other night sealed that. It's just whether they finish third or fourth now. But do you think we can finish above Liverpool? I mean, because I think we definitely can. Looking at them, because they just can't help but, as Terry said, West Ham, the masters of their own downfall. I know they've cried about injuries, but there's been a lot of games this season, much like us, where they should have just put it to bed and they've just conspired to throw it away. And I can't. There's some games between now and the end of the season that I think they're definitely not going to get 3 points in. United's one of them, and if they got to play, they still got to play West Ham as well. I think.
Not a clue.
They've got to play someone in the top top 7, I think, other than United. I'm sure they have.
I'll have to look into that, but yeah, there's a lot to play for. Like I mean, I think it was crucial that we got that win last week to sort of keep us in the hunt.
Yeah, if we didn't win that game against Arsenal, then the season's over, as far as I'm concerned. And that 3 points has kept us very much in the hunt, as you said, and a few other results going our way, like Liverpool dropping points and West Ham dropping points to Chelsea. That's basically left the door wide open, even though we've tried our best to not walk through it the last few months, because the door's been wide open for a while, and we've just, like them, thrown points away against Palace, against Burnley, against Tottenham. Any other season, we'd have been lucky to be still in the top half. The way we've gone about things the last 3-4 months, the amount of points we've dropped.
Guys, it's been quite a poor quality season, though, in terms of, obviously it's
many games. I'm sorry. How many games this season, Goodison, have we actually won? I know Martinez in his final season set the record, didn't he, for the least amount of home wins? Was that 5 as well?
No, I think we're on much worse than that this season.
So unless we win our remaining home games, this is going to be our worst season in the Premier League for home results.
Yeah, I think it could be.
The best. It's the best for away, though.
No, it was. We got 6 home wins under Martinez.
We've got 5 currently.
We've got 5 at the moment, yeah.
We've got 10 away now.
Yeah, that's true, but I don't want Ancelotti to have that record, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean, but no one, trust me, there will never be a record from this pandemic season that will be held up and pointed at, because it doesn't matter what it is, it'll all be like, yeah, well, that was the pandemic year. Like, nothing from this year.
You can't tell me that the Copites aren't going to throw arrows every time we mention winning at Anfield.
Of course they will, but that's what I mean. Like, everything will be the pandemic year. Like, they don't count because it's the pandemic year, so I don't care about all that. Like, it'll be in the history books a little anomaly season where there were no fans, because that's so anything that's positive you'll count, but anything that's negative you won't count.
I'll have that.
It is just frustrating though when you think, you know what, if we'd have just had a mediocre season at home, not even a good one, just a mediocre one, we'd probably be in the top 4 now, or at least the top 5. The fact that our home form has been that poor, it's left us still basically looking upwards at teams who 11 best 11 versus best 11. You'd fancy us to beat. I'd fancy us to beat West Ham, best 11 versus best 11, and Leicester.
A lot of teams would say that, though. We're not the only ones who can think that. A lot of teams have dropped off points and had injuries, so it feels like we've had loads, but other teams have as well. So look at the Red Shite. Like, they won the league last year, and now they're fighting to get into 4th place and probably aren't going to get it. They could say the same. Like, they dropped points to crap at home and had injuries. Every team, apart from 1 or 2, could say, if we'd have had X, Y, and Z, we'd have been better at A, B, and C. It's just one of them years.
Yeah, certainly. But with that in mind, there's still like a lot to play for, like we said. So going into this game, what's the sort of game plan? I think Owen touched on this in the extra time for the last game, that Villa aren't necessarily going to sit deep and play sort of park the bus football. So could that help us a little bit?
Yeah, loads. We're struggling against the low block, spoil the game type teams, because that's what we want to be most of the time. And we're not as good at it. Like when we tried to shit house Burnley and they just turned into Brazil. But any team that plays a higher line and wants to, have more of a go at us, that will be better for us because it'll give, some of our better players space to operate in. You don't want James, having to come and collect the ball off the centre backs constantly. You want them to be up the pitch and have players running into space. So if Villa attack us, that's better for us.
Yeah, I'm quite confident that we can defend relatively well against most teams in this league. It's us crafting the chances that I sometimes worry about.
Yeah, exactly. But as Terry said, Villa are going to come at us because what have they really got to gain by sitting deep and being conservative? Any prayer they've got of finishing above us, getting into the European hunt themselves, they're going to need to come here and take the 3 points, aren't they? They need to beat us in both games, otherwise they're not going to finish above us. Really, you wouldn't think so anyway.
I wouldn't think so, no.
They come here and they just scrap for the points, then basically just settling for 8th place, and maybe they'll be happy with that considering where they were this time last year. Whatever happens with them, they've had an absolutely cracking season where they've gone forwards. And fair play to Dean Smith. I thought he'd be one of the first managers for the chop this season, but I think he's in for the shout manager of the year. He probably won't get it, but he deserves to be in the top 3 or 4 considering.
He's done brilliantly. They're not a bad team.
Yeah, look how many league places they've jumped up. Last year they survived on deadlock on
17th last season.
Yeah, it went down to the last day, whereas this season they look comfortable in the top half. There's not many teams that manage that, is there? So fair play to them. But if they want to push on and maybe go for a little bit more, look to finish 7th and be in the conversation for Europe, then they're going to need to come here and win, to take the initiative against us, and we're allowed to sit in and be bitty and scrappy when we have to be on the front foot and the pressure's on us to get the result. And that's where we come unstuck, isn't it?
And with that in mind, we'll finish up here. Predictions. Paul?
I'll go for a scrappy 1-0. I think we can keep a clean sheet against these, but I think it will be a very tight game, but maybe the likes of James might just be the difference maker. I can see a player like James or maybe Calvert-Lewin will break his goal scoring duck, or not his duck, but get his first goal in a while. I can just see a goal for maybe a set piece or an early one from a defensive mistake. Just a goal that's not easy on the eye type thing. It's just a bounced in off the line and a
very Everton goal.
Like that. And then Everton, very Everton goal. And then similar to what we had against Chelsea earlier on the season, where maybe they just were under siege for the last 10, 15 minutes, but we probably just hang on. So I can see a 1-0, a 3 points, a close victory.
Terry, your prediction?
2-1 Everton. Probably score 2 goals and then concede 1 and be sweating our asses off for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, probably be like the Fulham game or something. Like
you know that's coming, don't you? If we are winning the game with 10 minutes left, it's going to be absolutely awful as watching as a fan. You're going to be biting your nails down to the
That's it. It's been that all season, mate. Honestly, it's like we'll go 2-0. We'll probably play some great stuff for the first half, and then like the second half will come out and like just basically fall asleep, let them have everything their own way, and then make life a nightmare for ourselves.
Fail the 5-minute test, as you two say.
Oh, the 5-minute test, and I'm like, it's so legit though.
What's your prediction, mate? I've gone for 1-0. Terry's gone for a 2-1.
I'm going to say the same as Terry. I'm going 2-1, and I think it'll be the very same as how Terry panned it out. Basically, we'll probably go 2-0, let them back in it, and make life a nightmare for us because it's the only way Everton know how to win games. Let's be honest. When's the last time you thoroughly enjoyed an Everton win? Let's be honest.
Probably Brighton.
Yeah, Brighton. Everyone says Brighton.
Right. Even looking back now, the Derby results. I watched that game, like the extended highlights of that game the other day, just to cheer myself up and to remind myself that we actually did win an Anfield once. On the night, we were so anxious because it was going to be such a massive result for the club and for the fan base. But when you looked back at it, I was thinking to myself, you know what? Even if we hadn't got that second goal, the penalty, if you were a neutral watching that game, you'd think to yourself, there's no way Everton are going to concede here. Liverpool was so bad in that game. So there are times when Everton fans, when you're watching a game, the results doesn't look as in doubt as we all think it is in our mind. It's just
Well,
our
I
anxiety.
think it's just Everton anxiety, especially after I was there at that Newcastle game for the 2-2. So, it never gets any worse than that, Jesus.
Yeah, that was the second to last game I think I went to. The last
that was
one
the last game I went to before pandemic. So I've got to get back soon to try and erase that from my mind.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Just to finish on this note, I watched the cup final with Spurs and City, and oh my God, it actually felt like watching a proper football match again.
Great.
I thought being in a big stadium like that and there only being a couple thousand fans there, it wouldn't really make much of a difference, but it made all the difference in the world. You could hear the fans, and I think they were clever, the organisers, in congregating all the supporters in one section each. So it actually looked like there was a lot of fans behind the goal. The noise was incredible, and I just thought, you know what, that's football. That I can't wait till I'm back in the stadium.
Yeah, it'd be great to get the fans back in the grounds. So let's get right onto it anyway. The Villa game's coming up on Saturday night. Everton versus Aston Villa. Let us know your opinions in the build-up to that game. Drop us a comment, give it a like, and subscribe for more content. And until then, guys, thank you for tuning in on the Toffee Blues.